Hi guys, DevilHunterXYZ, and today I am doing Tekken 3 on arcade mode. I am doing this on the hardest difficulty, and kind of like Tekken 2, it just goes up to hard. But luckily the difficulty in this game is not as bad as Tekken 2, so it should be more balanced. And I do have all the characters, including Gun. And again, for the purpose of canon, I'm just gonna stick with Jin Kazama.
Round one, fight.
Well, that's a good way to start out. Yeah, I can tell immediately this is not as bad as the second game. Well, in general, Tekken 3, I always found it a little bit interesting. I mean, it's not my favorite Tekken, but I say it's a pretty good one. Unfortunately, they don't have every character, from the second game. They had to pretty much get rid of most of them. I mean, it almost feels like I'm playing with a completely different roster. But it's still Tekken nonetheless. Still has that same fighting, air combos, and sometimes the occasional cheap AI. And I remember playing this one with my friends a lot. We always do a lot of one-on-one matches. We even kind of did like mini tournaments, see how far any of us could get. And what's interesting in this game, though, they actually have additional modes you can try out. Well, I mean, first of all, they actually have theater mode, so you can actually view all the endings of all the characters and listen to all the soundtracks. And you can also, well, on the PlayStation anyway, you can also just insert Tekken 1 and 2 and view the endings and soundtracks for those games. And, well, unfortunately, I can't do it with my PS3 because if I were to eject the game now, it would just reboot the entire console. But yeah, you can pretty much find most of these on YouTube. I mean, a lot of people have been doing a lot of Tekken gameplay, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of endings out there. But anyway, besides theater mode, they also have the beach volleyball game, where it's kind of almost like volleyball in a way, but you're almost like attacking the enemy with the beach ball. And that kind of gets a little bit of fun once in a while. Of course, my favorite thing to do is to actually charge up the power meter as much as I can and just release it at once to do massive damage. And finally, the new mode they added was the Tekken Force, which turns this simple fighting game into a beat-em-up game. And I don't know, it's not really Double Dragon, so I mean the controls are still the same, but it just feels a little awkward changing this from a fighting to a beat-em-up style. But at least it was a kind of a good change and offers something completely new. And I remember spending a lot of time just having to do Tekken Force, because that's the only way to unlock Dr. Boskanovich. You had to beat the game at least 3 times, and then on your 4th time with the same character, you go through it, and then after you beat the 4th stage, then you had to face Dr. Boskanovich. And if you beat him, you can use him as character. I mean, that took a lot of work. And of course, I just took the cheap way and just used Gunjack. Kind of did like a 2-hit combo. Yeah, but yeah, still a pretty decent Tekken game nonetheless. So far, not finding anything difficult yet.
Round one, fight.
I mean, the difficulty has been improved. I mean, not harder-wise, but more balanced. Doesn't feel like a huge gap. And also, they did increase the health. So now it's not just like 2 good hits and you're pretty much dead. So you have a good health bar. I can't really tell you how much health exactly, but compared to the first 2, yeah, it's quite a bit. Trying to get a good opening. Oh. That was pretty quick, actually.
You lose.
Again, I'm going to try to see how far I can get without continuing. And hopefully I don't end up having to continue now. That'd be pretty sad. Tackle attack. Well, anyway, as for the story for this game, after the events of Tekken 2, June and her son Jin were just leaving peacefully, and at the meantime, Heihachi manages to find Ogre and figures he can use him in order to conquer the world, which is pretty cliche if you ask me. I mean, it could have been something more, I don't know, original. But anyway, I guess some time has passed. Ogre attacks June and Jin, and while we're not really quite sure what happened to June, I mean, some say that she was killed by Ogre, and some say she just disappeared after the fight with Ogre, but anyway, the whole purpose now is Jin is trying to get revenge off of Ogre, and that's why Jin is participating in this third tournament, hoping to just get revenge, but honestly, I don't think he's even aware if June's even alive or not.
Round 2.
Well, anyway, as for Heihachi, well, he's pretty much just using everyone as bait so he can lure Ogre out in the open. And, well, I mean, if you played Tekken 3 before, you obviously know that you failed that plan. Which is kind of sad, because, well, I'm just thinking about it, just made this entire game pretty useless.
You win.
But I guess the only interesting thing we got out of it was the Devil Gene and Jin that actually manages to reawaken.
Round 1.
I mean, after all, he is the son of Kazuya, so he also carries the Devil Gene. Wow, I just realized I'm right at stage 6 and I haven't continued once yet. That's pretty odd, actually. I mean, I am pretty sure I'd put this on hard mode. Of course, sometimes you just gotta play cheap and just use some of the same tricks over and over, but I mean, is it really my fault that the AI is not smart enough to avoid it? Just having to bait the AI again. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to talk about, I can actually sidestep in this game. That's a good thing. I've been missing that for a while. And in fact, overall, the controls feel... well, I mean, don't feel as stiff. I mean, even compared to the last game. Yeah, look at that, facing Dr. B. Well, I guess that's why they just call him Dr. B. I mean, try to fit the entire name Boskanovich, the same line. Yeah, this one's a little bit tricky to deal with. Actually, even playing as Dr. Boskanovich is kind of a hard thing to do, since he can't even stand. He can only do crouching or just lying down. I mean, seriously, I would like to see someone beat the game on hard using Dr. Boskanovich without continuing.
Round 2.
I'm just having to use low attacks. Well, at least luckily, you can't block while you're on the ground, so it kind of gives me somewhat of an advantage. Whoa, it was almost a combo there. Yep, wasn't too bad.
You win.
I just can't believe I'm already at stage 8, and not once have I continued. I mean, I'm doing a lot better than last time.
1. Fight.
Well, either that or just have more moves to choose from. I mean, it felt like it was pretty limited in the second game. Well, either that or they just don't tell you all the moves that the characters can do. Like, I don't remember if they teach you how to do the Tekken combo, honestly. Or maybe it did, I don't remember.
You lose. Round 2. Fight.
Besides, that's another thing to deal with, 10-hit combos. I mean, who can honestly remember most of these 10-hit combos? In fact, most people I see online, they don't even bother with 10-hit combos. I mean, they're just lucky enough to create their own combos. And mostly the aerial combos are the best ones to pull off. Which honestly, that should be a way to counter aerial combos. I mean, it gets pretty annoying just getting stuck in them.
Final round. Fight.
Wow, perfect.
You win.
Alright, going to stage 9. Still no continues. Second to last stage. Yeah, just like in Tekken 2, there's only 10 stages. Oh, well, Heihachi's a little bit harder. I think so far he's the only one that's actually posing more of a challenge than anyone else. And speaking of Heihachi, he's looking pretty old at this point. I mean, his hair's all grayed. And I think this game... Well, I think the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3... I think it takes place 15 years after the last tournament. I think. Because I know the fourth tournament takes place 20 years after the second game. And unless the third and fourth tournament took place in the same year, I mean, I think it was like 15 years. I gotta say though, a guy this old and he still manages to be a threat. That says a lot.
You win.
Alright, last battle. And this one's pretty interesting since the first round you face Ogre and then the second round you face True Ogre. I mean, so I guess if you want to be technical, I guess there's somewhat 11 stages. And Ogre didn't really put up much of a fight. I mean, seriously, this game is a lot easier compared to Tekken 2. I'm guessing Ogre and Heihachi are morphing together. I'm hoping he doesn't do any fire attacks, which are pretty much equivalent to the Devil's laser attacks. Alright. Final blow.
You win.
And I can't believe it. I actually managed to beat this entire thing without continuing. Now we get this cool cinematic cutscene. I gotta say, the graphics are a lot better. I might consider for PlayStation standards anyway. Oh no, it's Devil Jin. Well, at least Tekken 3 is complete, and a lot shorter time compared to the last game. But this is DevilHunterXYZ, and until next time.